Now let's take a look at 3 soloing ideas we can use on this track. Number 1 is I love the sound of the minor 9, D minor 9. And that's kind of the arpeggio. I like to put the 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, to me that's a very cool sound. Kind of landing on the 9. So that's kind of what I would like to target in an idea. Some ideas is the starting on the 9th, end it with a ending phrase, go back to it, and end it in a different place. So it's like a call and response. It's like asking a question and then getting an answer. Answer. Right? It's like finishing the complete phrase. So that's one idea I would like you to target based on that minor 9 sound, starting on the 9th, ending on the 9th, and then end the phrase. Same thing. Okay, a cool rhythm is ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-do-dat. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-do-do-dat. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-do-do-dat. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-do-do-do. Very important to internalize these rhythms, because you could put any notes to these rhythms and you got some good, solid foundation. Don't forget, music is melody, harmony, and rhythm. Okay, a third of music is rhythm, the element, rhythm. We forget about that a lot of times because we're so worried about the notes we're playing. Okay, so I really want you to take these rhythms to heart too, and internalize them. Check it out. See, just putting my notes to it, any notes to that same rhythm, and swings right along. Okay, now when you add the concept of like a minor 9, now you start to really say something. All right, so that's idea number 1. Let's move on to idea number 2. The second idea we can both target is taking a pattern, okay, using the Dorian, taking a pattern on the top 2 strings and moving down, applying some cool offbeat rhythms. So if we take, and that's this pattern going down the Dorian, right? You hear that rhythm? And you can end the phrase however you want. But that pattern and that rhythm, ba 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 doo 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 doo. You can end it however you want. You can even add some new style rhythms too, offbeats. Okay, we just have that pattern, that 3-note pattern under our fingers, then we could start to add some cool rhythms and really make that say something. Right? Right? Patterns become, if you have that pattern under your hand, you apply all different kinds of rhythms, and you could use that and come up with 100 different ways just by applying different rhythms to that cool little 3-note descending pattern over the Dorian. So that's idea number 2 we're going to target. Let's move on to number 3. Our third idea, it's kind of a little crazy, but it's a great way on kind of a modal open freestyle jam like this on one chord is to take an open string, say B, that's the minor sixth, the Dorian sound. Okay, now if we start to get this pull-off thing happening where you take a couple of notes from the Dorian, say the E and the D, you see that? I'm pulling off. I'm not picking them all. I'm not going... First, we got to get that going, right? Being able to pull off. And the more calluses you develop, meaning the more you practice, the more calluses you develop, it's easier to pull off because you have a little surface. You have a little callus that'll actually pick the note for you. Okay, so that's number one. Number two to this is, and then you pull off with your first finger. Third, the F, go back and forth, go up, right up the Dorian scale and down the Dorian scale, picking different notes with that open B. That one sounds good to me. So that's the one I'm going to target. And that's 3, 4, one triplet, two triplet, three triplet. I wish I could talk that fast, but I can't. So it's triplets, really. Fligita. I like to call this one fligitas. Fligita, fligita, triplet, one triplet. Okay, so let's try to target that. When you really get going or you're starting to run out of ideas, just start to target that B note and do some fligitas and see where it takes you. Move it up and down the fingerboard. That's the fun of improvising. Okay, there doesn't always have to be quote-unquote correct notes in there. It's a lot about feeling sometimes, especially on a kind of chaotic track like this where, you know, no rules, really. I mean, we're kind of sticking to the Dorian, but when it comes down to it, with a modal jam like this over one chord, you could take it wherever you want to go. And that's kind of the idea behind this, is try to interject and target a point in your solo where you're going to do something a little crazy. Okay, so that's kind of what the third riff is about. Let's move on.